Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Dakbo Adigboye, and here are stories making headlines beyond the African continent. We begin the news in Europe, where the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, on a campaign visit to a ceramics factory in northern England, advocated his Conservative Party's recently stated plan to reinstate national service for 18-year-olds. According to the PM, under the proposed scheme, youths would choose to either join the military full-time for 12 months or spend one weekend every month volunteering in their community over a year. Sunak also added that he thinks it would boost UK's resilience and security.
And if I think about national service, I think for young people, as you said, doing something that provides them with skills and opportunities is going to be really transformational for their lives, right? And all the things that you said, some structure, some rules, a sense of belonging and identity. And actually, I believe service gives you purpose. And I think it will be really brilliant for young people to have this rite of passage that they go through with everything that it teaches them and just keeps them out of trouble. And I think all of us have felt like our society could do with being more cohesive, right? Reminding us all that we're all on the same side, bringing us together. And this will do that. It will foster that culture of service and make our society more cohesive. But it also, in a very uncertain time, will make our country more safe. So in years to come, when we have thousands and thousands of people who have been trained in things that are practically helpful for our country's resilience or our security. And remember, there's a choice. So if people want to, they can do the military component of this, but it will be very competitive and selective. And for everyone else, there'll be civic roles, whether it's search and rescue, first aid, lifeboats, helping elderly people. But all of these things will just contribute to our country's resilience and our security. So I think it's going to be fantastic. It will become a rite of passage, an important part of who we are as a nation. And actually,
joining me on the news to discuss this is an international affairs analyst, Olabode Oseni. Thank you for joining me. Now, young adults can either join the military for a year or volunteer in their communities on weekends. How do you react to this particular comment by the Prime Minister?
Thank you very much for having me. Well, judging from what the Prime Minister said, it is a laudable, very laudable program, and if it's well properly put together, it will attract more youth because today there are many youths that for whatever reason, because of the court from the government financial support, many of them are idle, many of them are not doing anything. So it will go a long way. So my reaction initially would be once the policy enjoys the support of both the government and the opposition. And again, like I said, the policy must be very, very attractive. I remember, when I settled here many years back, I used to do voluntary and I enjoyed it. And like the president, like the Prime Minister said, is the options of if you want to do a full 1 year time military, and expected to join that may be about 30,000 youth adults. And then for those who want to take it bit by bit, once or every other time, 1 week and so. So I must say it's a fantastic project. But the question is this going to be part of what to lure the youth for the July 4 election? I don't know.
Now, let's talk about some potential challenges or criticism the proposal might face.
Well, again, like another thing, it's the planning. The good thing about a country like Europe is most of these plan or projects are properly costed and put together on a drawing board. They use the drawing board here a lot, and a lot of in and out investigation, cost effectiveness, and the impact on the economy, impact on the social and social structure will have been put together before they come up with the idea. So again, it is an idea that I personally, as a citizen of this country, support, because I have no doubt in my mind that when you start looking at about 30,000 that are probably looking forward to take the advantage of the 1-year military service. And many others that will also, excuse me, be joining from the options.
All right.
I think,
okay.
Nothing to, yeah. Sorry about that, yeah.
No, I wanted you to land on your point before I ask the next question.
Okay. So again, the effect of it is going to be how much the government is putting together to think works out.
All right. It's fine.
I normally have my water near me.
All right. So it's fine, sir. But let's, of course, find out how you anticipate the public would actually react to this proposal amongst, particularly the young adults. Maybe you might just want to respond to this in 30 seconds.
Okay, the reaction definitely will vary. There are some who will embrace it. There will also be some that will say, well, you know what, I don't want to do it because I don't want to do it based on once I turn 18, I already have a career plan. I want to do this, I want to do that, and I don't want to I want to go off the rail of my plan. So it's going to be a mixed reaction, definitely. And that also may be from the elderly who's supposed to shower support. It will vary from one person to another. But I have no doubt in my mind that majority will support it definitely, because it's a good idea. The agenda is fantastic. The project is looking very good for the youth, because in the process, opportunity to get skilled, opportunity to support the different organizations. You might be willing to support the NHS, the National Health Service, which is the largest employment something. Different area. You can even go into area of community service. You can even do some policing, community. It's a nice idea, but again, like another thing, not everybody will join it. Not everybody wants to support it.
All right. Thank you so much for your time on the news, Otumba Olabode Oseni.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Now, a French prosecutor on Tuesday asked an appeal court to uphold the life sentence for a man convicted for fatally shooting 3 women he blamed for ruining his career. In 2021, an unemployed French engineer, Gabriel Fortin, killed 2 human resource directors and a job center employee, and attempted to kill a company executive following a string of dismissals. The bloody rampage shocked France. In 2023, the man dubbed the HR killer was given a life sentence. On Tuesday, the public prosecutor asked the court to uphold the life sentence. He pointed to Fortin's total lack of empathy towards his victims and a categorical refusal to seek any form of treatment. Let's also tell you that former Dutch intelligence chief Dick Schoof will be presented as the proposed Prime Minister of the incoming right-wing government in Netherlands. The 4 parties that will form the new government, led by Geert Wilders, nationalist PVV, announced this on Tuesday at a press conference with Schoof. Earlier this month, election winner Wilders reached an agreement on forming the government with 3 other conservative parties, after ruling himself out of the top job in the cabinet. Schoof is currently the senior official at the Dutch Ministry of Justice, having led the intelligence agency AIVD and anti-terrorism agency NCTV for years. He was the head of the Dutch Immigration Service in the early 2000s.
Van ons land. Zijn kwaliteiten nationaal en internationaal geven goede hoop op een bijdrage aan stabiliteit van het bestuur.
De stap die ik nu zet is onverwacht, maar niet onlogisch. Want uiteindelijk is de vraag die je voor jezelf moet beantwoorden: zou ik hier iets goeds kunnen doen? En mijn antwoord erop is ja. Ik denk ook dat ik vanuit mijn bestuurlijke kennis en ervaring als minister-president kan bijdragen aan dat goeds. Voor de publieke zaak, het algemeen belang voor het land. Ik ben partijloos. En dan vind ik de vraag naar verwantschap eigenlijk niet relevant. Wat ik wel relevant vind is dat in mijn beleving het hoofdlijnenakkoord een goede basis geeft om ook de vraagstukken die ik noemde, om daar met elkaar aan te gaan werken op een manier die ook voor alle Nederlanders past. Het is een uiterst
Russia's President Vladimir Putin says there would be serious consequences if Western countries approve of Ukraine using their weapons to strike Russian territory. Speaking during a state visit to Uzbekistan, Putin said NATO countries should be aware of what they are playing with before talking about striking Russian territory. According to him, the small territory and dense population of many European countries should be taken into consideration. He said although Ukraine would send out the strikes, Western arms suppliers would bear accountability for them.
Особенно в Европе, особенно в малых странах, они должны вообще отдавать себе отчет, с чем они играют. Они должны помнить о том, что это, как правило, государство с небольшой территорией и с очень плотным населением. И этот фактор, который они должны иметь в виду, прежде чем говорить о нанесении ударов вглубь российской территории. Ну и вообще эта постоянная эскалация может привести к серьезным последствиям.
In Northern America, Georgia's parliament on Tuesday adopted a controversial foreign influence law, which has sparked weeks of mass protest and a blizzard of international condemnation. Lawmakers voted 84-4 to pass the bill after overriding a veto by President Salome Zurabushvili. Now, this move came despite ongoing street protests and warnings from Brussels and the United States that the measures undermines Georgia's European Union membership bid.
თავდაპირველ ვერსიას, რომელიც პარლამენტმა საიმოსვენით უკვე მიიღო, უცხოური გავლენის გამჭვირვალობის შესახებ კანონს გთხოვთ ჩართოთ კენჭისყრის რეჟიმი. ყურადღება მიმდინარეობს კენჭისყრი. 84 მომხრე, 4 წინააღმდეგი კანონი მიღებულია.
In the meantime, the United States has condemned the adoption of foreign influence law by the Georgian parliament. The U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller, while briefing newsmen, said in passing the law, the ruling Georgian Dream Party moved the country further away from the European integration path and ignored the Euro-Atlantic aspirations of the Georgian people, who have taken to the streets for weeks to oppose this law.
Earlier today, the Georgian parliament voted to override the Georgian president's veto of an anti-democratic foreign influence bill that fails to conform to European norms, effectively turning the bill into law. The United States condemns this action. In passing this law, the ruling Georgian Dream Party moved the country farther away from the European integration path and ignored the Euro-Atlantic aspirations of the Georgian people, who have taken to the streets for weeks to oppose this law.
Abandoned houses have been washed away in the Mexican village, slowly being swallowed by the sea, a symbol of climate change effects being felt by the major fossil fuel producer. This year, heat waves have sent temperatures soaring in Tabasco and across much of the country, stoking the climate change debate as the country prepares for a June 2nd presidential poll. According to environmental group Greenpeace, El Bosque is the first community in Mexico to be officially recognized as displaced by the climate change. In February, the territory's state congress approved the relocation of El Bosque.
Todo el tiempo hemos escuchado cambio climático, pero pues nunca pensamos que a nosotros nos llegaría. Seríamos casi uno de los primeros. Y ver que vemos una colonia tan normal que nunca imaginamos que cambio climático seríamos primeros, dice la comunidad, nosotros no somos tan responsables de todo esto que está pasando, pero lo estamos pagando. Y somos los primeros y no vamos a ser los únicos. Esto va a seguir, ¿por qué? Porque ve las temperaturas tan altas. Pero pues al final de cuentas es difícil ver que en un día agarra lo que puedas y corre, sal, porque la verdad, pues, ya es por demás. Queríamos nosotros luchar ahí mismo, ¿no? Ponían la gente, te ayudaban y poníamos escombros, pero ya no. La mar no nos daba.
Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us. In Oceania, the United Nations agency has warned that it is very unlikely for more survivors to be found in Papua New Guinea's deadly landslide. As Enga Province Administrator reported that every hour rock breaks and it is like a bomb or gunshot and the rock keeps falling down. The provincial administration spoke at an emergency online meeting with foreign government and asked for immediate assistance to deal with landslip risk, to manage the response and ensure the rapid delivery of supplies. The NGA official has initially listed the number of persons to be evacuated at 7,900, but later acknowledged that it was, in fact, the estimated population in the area affected by the landslide. In the Middle East, the Israeli military says an initial investigation into a strike that sparked a deadly weekend fire in a tent camp in the southern Gaza city of Rafah has found the blaze was caused by a secondary explosion. On Tuesday, the Israeli military said its ammunition alone could not have caused a deadly blaze. That Gaza health authorities reported killed 45 persons in the south city of Rafah. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Agari said, based on precise intelligence, aircraft dropped two 17-kilometer ammunition on the target, which he added was away from tent shelters housing displaced civilians.
Was conducted using two munitions with small warheads suited for this targeted strike. We're talking about munition with 17 kilos of explosive material. This is the smallest munition that our jets can use. We're also assessing footage documented by Gazans on the night of the strike, posted on social media, which appear to show secondary explosions, indicating that there may have been weapons in the area. Our signal intelligence intercepted some phone calls that reinforce this concern, raising the possibility that weapons stored in a nearby compound caught fire. Sadly, following the strike, due to an unforeseen circumstances, a fire ignited, tragically taking the lives of Gazan civilians nearby. Despite our efforts to minimize civilian casualties during the strike, the fire that broke out was unexpected and unintended. This is a devastating incident.
Let's also tell you that the French Foreign Ministry on Tuesday called for Israeli operations in Rafah to cease ahead of an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council. The ministry also demanded that Palestinians be given the authority to govern a territory that must be an integral part of their state, and that the United Nations be permitted to provide for the immediate needs of the populace. Last week, the ICJ ordered Israel to halt its military operation in Rafah as international pressure mounts on Israel to rein in its assault. Let's head to Asia, where we understand that at least 12 persons have been killed after a torrential rain in the wake of a powerful cyclone caused the collapse of a quarry in India's Mizoram state. Now, Police Director General Anil Shukla in a news briefing said rescue efforts in the quarry were being hampered by heavy rains. The official also offered compensation to families of the victims of the landslide due to Cyclone Ramil. In the meantime, India's Weather Office has issued warnings of extremely heavy rainfall across the Mizoram area and other northeastern states on Tuesday. According to officials, 8 Indian deaths occurred in the West Bengal state, updating a previous death toll of 6, bringing the nation's death toll to at least 21. And finally, on Beyond the Continent, Hong Kong police have arrested 6 persons under the city's new security law for posting messages with seditious intentions online. Security Chief Chris Tang confirmed to newsmen that one of the arrested was Cho Hang-tung, a prominent activist who has been jailed since 2021. Cho was a former leader of the now disbanded Hong Kong Alliance, which had organized an annual candlelight vigil in Hong Kong to mourn the victims of the June 4, 1989, when Beijing sent troops to Tiananmen Square to quash appeals for democracy. The internet posts were taken advantage of as an upcoming sensitive day, and the arrest on Tuesday coincide with the event's 35th anniversary.
市民各位傳媒嘅朋友，我相信大家可能都已經留意到咧，我哋警方嘅國安處喺今日朝頭早較早時間咧，係拘捕咗6名人士，包括5名嘅女士同埋1名嘅男士，而其中1名女士咧，而家咧係喺還押中嘅。拘捕佢涉嫌咧就係違反咗維護國家安全條例入邊第24條嘅係煽動意圖嘅相關罪行。被捕人士涉嫌咧係用一個匿名嘅方式。 係透過一個咧叫做小童群秋會嘅一個嘅社交嘅專業，利用咧係嚟緊一個特別嘅日子嚟到咧係連續發布一啲係意圖係煽動嘅貼文。呢啲煽動咧係包括係煽動對中央政府、對特區政府同埋對一啲司法機構嘅不滿、不信任，甚至乎咧係憎恨嘅。亦都咧係意圖去鼓勵呢啲網民咧係組織一啲咧係危害國家安全嘅活動，同埋一啲非法嘅活動。我想。
And that's a wrap on the news at this time. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us across these platforms: DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274, Apple TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dakbo at Digboy.